Look who's back. Look who's back. Damn. That's dust. Shit. I only went away for a weekend. Holy shit. Anyway, that's how dusty Los Angeles is. So, yes, Kansas City. Fucking awesome. So good. So good. Thank you so much for coming out. They weren't jam-packed shows, but they were good. They were great. And the people that came out wanted to laugh. They, you know, some had seen me before, some had never seen me. Some just wanted to get the fuck out of the house. Some saw me with Dice a couple times. They came back. Great. Love it. Love everybody that came out. So happy for you. I did 5 shows for the club, and then I did 2 open mics. So now I'm like, let's do this. Get back in it. I want to get back in. I want to work. I miss the Comedy Store. I miss the Comedy Store so fucking much. Right now, we're all, you know, shit's a little uncomfortable right now. Some shit's going on, and I gotta say, I'm proud of these young ladies for coming forward. That's great. I love it. Due process, though. Let's not fucking throw everybody under the bus and run everybody over because we don't know the truth. So let it work out, and you ladies keep being loud enough, people will hear you, okay? People will hear you, and your shit, and it will be resolved. If he did something wrong, it will be taken care of. However, there's some other people, because now it's like nitpick. Now it's like, who else can we get? Who else can we get? I've been in quarantine too long. I want to fucking hurt somebody. I want to hurt somebody too, okay? But not like this. Not like this. Not what you're doing. This cancel culture, these stroms, these pieces of shit that are out there, these Cindy Brady. I'm gonna tell you, I'm disgusted that people are laughing at a joke. Are we gonna kill everybody that's laughed at a fucking dirty joke? Anybody that's ever watched Richard Pryor talk about growing up in a whorehouse? Let's have all of them executed. Are you out of your fucking mind? Do you know how comedy works? It's called embellishing. First of all, that story that Joe Diaz told, Joe Diaz, who is a dear friend of mine, I've known him since 1995, that story he told, and Joe Rogan laughing at it, another dear friend that I've known since 1994, Joe Rogan laughing at it because it was fucking ridiculous. It was so out of the ordinary that there's nothing else to do but laugh because it's insane. It's insane. And that's what Joey did. And he was embellishing that story, of course. However, I was working there at the Comedy Store as a waitress. I was at the Comedy Store as a waitress from 1993 to 2005. I was 21 years old when I got hired. I spent most of my adult life at the Comedy Store. So I think I can speak on it a little bit. I know a lot about it. I worked for Mitzi for a long time, very closely. The last 7 years I was there, 7 years. So I worked with her for very closely. And the year Joey's talking about, when all that shit was going down, my first 2-3 years there, it was normal. It was okay. Wild shit happened. It's a nightclub. It's 21 and older. There was still drugs coming in. There was all kinds of shit happening. But it wasn't like I was new. I was nervous. You know, I met my first ex-fiance in 1994 there. He was also in the comedy business. So then I was seeing that whole other side of the world, which was crazy as well. However, the Comedy Store is this insane dark place that everybody has a love-hate relationship with. If you don't get past there, you're like, fuck them, they suck, they're all cliquey, and they're this and they're that, and they don't like women. All right, fuck you. We have a lot of great women that work at the Comedy Store. So when you say they don't like women, there's women like me get hurt. Punky Johnson, Annie Letterman, Laura Bites, fucking Rachel Mack, Jessica Michelle Singleton, Nicole Amy Schreiber. Please go somewhere else. And we're at the bottom, by the way. I'm not even mentioning the Ali Wongs and the fucking Leslie Jones and the Fortune Feimsters and Eliza Schlesinger, Jody Miller. Please, the list goes on. And it's been that way for a long time. When I first started there, it was Retha Jones, Sherry Shepard, Tammy Pascatelli, Paula Bell, Kim Tavares. Please stop. There was always great women. Kelly Kirsten was Joe Rogan's favorite comic. Kelly Kirsten, she made me fucking peer. She was hilarious. I believe she still writes. She's very funny. There was millions. Cynthia Levin, there was millions of them. Sean Pulowski, they still work there. They're all whatever. Yes, the club changes, and you might not get spots there anymore because when we were dead, when we were what Rick Ingram and I on the Comedy Store podcast refer to as the dead years, when we were dead, a lot of those comics went and worked elsewhere because we didn't have an audience. And it was getting darker and deeper and seedier and creepier because unfortunately, Mitzi's health was declining. So she wasn't around a lot. And that story and that time period that Joe Diaz is talking about was around 1996, 97. And in 1997, I was a head waitress, and the town coordinator was a girl named Corey Soto, who was married to my dear best friend Freddie Soto, who happened to be turned 50 today. Had he not died, 15 years ago? Anyway, Google him, you'll laugh your ass off. One of my favorite people, one of my very best friends from the Comedy Store. He was a door guy when I was a waitress, and we've been friends up until the day he died, and awful, whatever. Anyway, back to this. Yeah, he's probably rolling over in his grave for this shit. So Joe Diaz was telling a story about a girl who gave him a blowjob for a spot in the belly room, which hilarious, whatever. He didn't even go in the belly room. He didn't even go in the basement. He doesn't like ghost. Whole thing, whatever. That's not the point. The point is there was a lot of girls hanging out at that time. There was a lot of girls hanging out at the club, and they were blowing guys. They were blowing the comics. They were constantly. I would walk in the bathroom, see this, and it wasn't for stage time. It was for drugs most of the time, okay? And it was a long time happening. I know this because I witnessed 90% of it. And a lot of times I would fight with the comics, like, hey man, this is disgusting, this is whatever, and they would tease me and call me the fun vacuum or whatever. Oh, here comes Eleanor, she's not gonna let us do it. Yeah, because no one was watching. The inmates were running the asylum. The place was fucking crazy. It was going off the rails. The money, we didn't have money. Shows were dying. Fat Tuesday was our only popular show. It basically kept us open, thank you Guy Tori, for a long time. Then La Jolla, the Comedy Store in La Jolla would do well, so that kept us open. But it was a dark time at the Comedy Store, and the shit was going down, and it was like just a lot of crazy shit was happening, okay? So that girl, those girls, there was a few of them, but that girl specifically, she did everything she did willingly. No one held her against her will. No one said you have to do this for this. Of course he joked and embellished. And if you can't fucking see that, you're a moron. And people that are like, my blood's boiling, blah, 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 they made me feel subhuman at the Comedy Store. Like I had to prove myself. Yeah, you're fucking right you do. Because here's the thing. A lot of those comics, they showcase for years and years and years. You ask any comic that's a Comedy Store paid regular, a real one, not one that came in because they had credits, okay? When that happens, when somebody comes in because they have credits and they start getting good stage time, yeah, we're gonna give you the fucking stink eye. You know why? Because we've been in the trenches for a long time. And when I was waiting tables, I wasn't a comic, so I really didn't care. But when I became a comic, and it took me 3 years to get passed as a paid regular. 3 years. I was Mitzi's assistant. I still couldn't get passed. It's just how it went. They make you fucking earn it. You have to earn it there. There is no give. There is no here. You know so-and-so here. Now it's different. Now it is a little different, to be quite honest. Now it's real business. Unfortunately, when Mitzi's health was declining, we had a bizarro talent coordinator who used to say some horrendous things to a lot of comics. And finally, Eric Anderson got rid of this person. And when they got rid of that person, everything changed. So if you're shitting on the Comedy Store still because you can't get in there or whatever it is that you're pissed off at the Comedy Store for because you felt uncomfortable there, I'm sorry if you felt uncomfortable there. We are sick people. that feel comfortable at the Comedy Store. I go to the Comedy Store and I never feel better. If it's the Comedy Store or my mother's living room, that's where I feel the most comfortable. I'm not kidding. We're, like Steve Simone would say, we are the land of the misfit toys, because we are so fucked up. That is the only place we fit in. And I love it. I fucking love it. And people that shit on it, whatever, go somewhere else. Go to another club. There's plenty of clubs. If the Comedy Store doesn't fuck with you, go somewhere else. But don't go digging up shit on two great guys, Joe Diaz and Joe Rogan, because you're fucking jealous of all the Joe Rogan's success or whatever, or you want to cancel him because this is bizarro, he can't have this, blah, whatever you want. Why you want Joe Rogan's head, I'll never know, because there is nobody that worked fucking harder to get where he is. If you look at that tape where Joe Diaz is telling that story, look at the quality and look where he brought himself to now. If you look at that and go, fuck him, I want to tear that down, you're a monster. That's ridiculous. He busts his ass and he helped a lot of comics on the way up, male and female, okay? He helped a lot of comics. I've been on Rogan's podcast. There's no reason to have me on. I have no credits. He actually had me on, I think, 4 years ago. Why? You know, he had Dice on, and I think I did it with Dice too as well. But he also had me on by myself. That's fucking amazing. That's a nice thing. That's a great thing, because he's the new Carson or whatever you want to call it. Nobody watches TV anymore. They threw their TVs out and they're fucking streaming shit and touching themselves. The whole world is going crazy. How dare you? How dare you go after a comic? Joe Diaz is one of the funniest, nicest fucking guys on the planet. He has helped so many comics, especially females. I have featured for Joe Rogan in Philadelphia. Not only did he double pay me, pay me on top of what the club paid me, he gave me a bonus for doing well. And then he told me, whatever, he's the fucking greatest. And then he just told, I don't know why you guys would go after someone like Joe Diaz. There's nobody less harmless, nobody on your side more than him, right? Like in Philadelphia, he made me feel so good about myself. Like I was walking on fucking air. He let me open for him in Philadelphia. He also told the story about when he kidnapped that guy, and then my brother got all nervous because a friend of ours was kidnapped, and he was like, the fuck, can't joke about kidnapping. Then he got over it and he laughed because he realized it's fucking comedy. And we make fun of the darkest, deepest shit. It's truth. We deal in truth. If you don't like to fucking deal in truth and you want to do your little fucking act, your little fucking, here's my bit, go fuck yourself, okay? Nobody wants that. And the Comedy Store made a lot of changes, and they were great changes. If you're shitting on the Comedy Store and you're talking about the last 6 years, you're lost, because when Eric got rid of that town coordinator and they took over and Adam took over and they started running it like a real business, it's actually a little too corporate now. The only thing that, I still love the Comedy Store, but we now joke about how corporate it is, because that's what it's turned into. And now there are people that come in and they have credits and they get good spots. But you know what? We understand, because we benefit from that. We're cool with it, because we're like, all right, so they're a big whatever star, they have a TV show, they sell tickets, and now we benefit from that because they sell the tickets, but we get to perform in front of their fans, and we get to maybe steal their fans, you know? Us people that go on late, and I'm talking about like me and the people that are after 11:45 or 11:30 rather. We're the late nighters. We're the ones that fucking pulling up the rear, if you will. So yeah, we reap the benefits. Joe Rogan goes on, and sometimes if Joe Rogan, this is what I don't understand. If you're going after Joe Rogan, he gives so much back to comedy. You're insane if you're going after him. Like, literally does so much for comedy because of his podcast. Clubs are packed if he's there, or people in his group that he like promotes so much, like people that are on his podcast, his little, what do they say, Joe Rogan's Army, I think they call him. Who gives a fuck? If they're there, then people come in, and then you get to reap the benefits of these fucking people coming in, and then they're your fans, and it just keeps going. He loves the store so much, he performs at the store. It's packed. Sometimes I'm tight for money, and I'll get a fucking spot, and if I see Rogan's on, I'm thrilled. He takes the same amount of money that I get. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. Thank you, Joe, by the way. Anyway, I'm saying, Diaz, same thing. Diaz, same thing. If he's in the main room, it's going to be fucking packed. It's going to be packed. And we all get the same amount of money, okay? I've done Diaz's birthday party in the original room. Unbelievable. Unbelievable fans I got from that. Like, because they love comedy so much. And Joe not only helps the Comedy Store, he goes to the Improv, the Hollywood Improv, whatever. He goes to the Laugh Factory. I mean, the Ice House. He doesn't do the Laugh Factory anymore because they pissed him off, but that was the whole thing. But he would, because he just loves comedy. He loves supporting comedy and keeping these comedy clubs open. So I know I'm riled up and I'm supposed to be being funny, but I'm a little pissed off. I understand that I'm, like I said, and I think I said it in this one, I don't even know if I said it, but, you know, the other problems with you girls coming forward, I'm so proud of you. Keep coming forward. Please come forward. Come to me. Call me. If somebody's fucking with you at the store or something, you feel uncomfortable, talk to me. I've had so many girls come to me and tell me they don't feel safe at the Comedy Store, or they don't feel safe being around a bunch of men. And that's fine. And then they're cool. Like, after a while, they're like, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought, because they were on some preconceived notion that if you go to the Comedy Store, all this wild shit's gonna happen. But it's not like that anymore. So I have literally, like, hung out with girls where they're like, oh, this isn't awful. No, it isn't, because those dark years, they're gone. They're gone. They happen. There's nothing we can do about them. And a lot of weird shit happened in there. And Rick and I talk about it on the Comedy Store podcast on repeat, because some of them are so bizarre you wouldn't even believe it. Like the story Diaz told. So what I'm saying is this, people. Just, ladies, keep speaking up. Keep fucking speaking up. If somebody does you dirty, fucking yell at them, yell them out, I can't even talk, that's how angry I am. Yes, I've had female comics come to me. I've had a lot of female comics come to me and tell me that comics were being disrespectful, trying to get in their pants, whatever it is, and they don't want to do that, but the comics being aggressive, and we police our own. I've walked up to comics and said, leave her the fuck alone, or I'm gonna knock the shit out of you. I know that's not the best way, but that's how I deal with things. I've literally had girls say to me, aren't you nervous to be at the store late night? You know, you go on late. Sometimes you go on at like 1. Yeah, I'm not afraid. They're like, what about walking to your car? I'm like, I understand that, but if you're a regular, you park in the lot. And if you're working in the belly room and you're not a regular, or you're doing a produced show and you have to walk to your car, you feel unsafe, ask somebody to walk you to your car. And go to the management. Go to the management. We have the greatest managers. Jen Kane, Curtis Nelson. They'll walk you right to your car. They're good people. They want you to come back. There's 1,000 great comics. Unfortunately, there's only 100 spots. I'm just saying, that's the problem with the club. There's only so many spots, and people attack Adam like, I need spots, I should be this, I should be that, I have a TV show in my country. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Like, it's very few people that sneak in with just having good credits. It's very few. But you know what? They got their ass whipped at the Comedy Store when they came in, and they were like, fuck, this is harder than I thought. Because an audience, if it's a celebrity, an audience will give you maybe a minute. And then you got to bring the goods, or they're going to fucking let you know that you don't belong there. And the Comedy Store audiences are harder. It is weird. The original room is one of the toughest rooms in the country. Anybody will say it. You can ask any comic. It's one of my favorite rooms, but it's because that's where technically I grew up in stand-up. And I waited tables in there for 12 years. Anyway, I'm just saying this, guys, stop nitpicking. Let's work on the serious issues. This other issue, it's way more serious. It's way more serious. And again, I can't throw anybody under the bus because I don't know the details. I'm not a judge. I'm due process. This will come out whether it happened or it didn't happen. I don't know. And I'm not one to say anything. And you girls that are calling around and asking for dirt on comics, on Chris or Joe Diaz or Joe Rogan, we don't know, okay? Stop judging Chris's friends, close friends, and holding them responsible. They're not responsible for his actions. He acted alone. He did what he did or didn't do. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not privy to that information. But if he did, he will do what he has to do. I know it. Chris is one of the nicest people I've ever met. And like I said, I've had a lot of girls come and tell me they felt uncomfortable or they were going through this or whatever it was. And I've had lots of girls come to me and none of them ever complained about Chris. So, Dalia, I don't even know if I said that already. I just don't want to drag his name through the mud. He's already going through it. They'll figure it out. Like I said, I'm very proud of these girls for stepping up. Always step up. Always step up. Always say something. But don't come at the Comedy Store and don't start fucking, well, the Comedy Store breeds that kind of behavior. Yeah, we went through a fucking period, okay? We had a fucking problem. It's not like that anymore. The inmates were running the asylum. I can't even begin to tell you. If you really want to know about it, go and listen to the past episodes of the Comedy Store podcast. But make sure you listen to the real comics, the ones that worked there and really went through the system there. Like Joe Diaz, he was there day in and day out. And as soon as he got there, it was wild. It was party all the time. And you know what? He married one of my waitresses and she was a great girl and they have a gorgeous child together and I'm happy for him. I love Joe Diaz. I love his wife. I love his daughter. Joe Rogan. Again, I can't express enough how much he does for comedy. And that if you can't see that and you just want to knock him down because he got something you didn't, that'll never make fucking sense to me. And you're a problem and you need to go away. And if you want, you could catch me outside, bitch, because that's how I do my shit. Not online. I'm not going to fight with you behind the fucking keyboard. You want to fucking type it out? Come out and we'll punch it out. I'll smack the shit out of you. I'm sorry, I have anger issues. Everybody knows that. All right, I think I've rambled on enough about this. I have no idea if I said anything that's going to help anybody or hurt anybody. I just know, please believe in due process, man. And don't nitpick to make other people's things seem less than, okay? Because there are some serious fucking accusations here. And now you're picking on something else and distracting from the real shit that's going down. Knock it the fuck off. I'm sorry you didn't get spots at the store. Calm the fuck down.